about Whoopi Goldberg because I got so many texts this week because she attacked me the week before.
Sure.
So everybody was like, oh, Bill, I get you're enjoying the karma. First of all, I'm going to talk about this at the end of my show next week, teaser. But there is no fucking thing as karma, okay?
The clash between Bill Maher and Whoopi Goldberg isn't just a celebrity disagreement. It's a much deeper conversation about free speech cancel culture and the right to challenge mainstream ideas. Maher, a longtime advocate for open dialogue, has called out Goldberg's controversial remarks, while also defending her right to express them. This public feud reflects a broader cultural divide. Should controversial opinions spark open debate or be silenced through suspension and public backlash? While Goldberg has faced consequences for her past comments, Maher argues that punishing people for what they say doesn't foster understanding. It simply suppresses dissent and undermines the principle of free speech. Their disagreement reveals a growing tension in society over whether people can hold unpopular views without being shut down.
She attacked me the week before.
Sure.
So everybody was like, oh, Bill, I get you're enjoying the karma. First of all, I'm going to talk about this at the end of my show next week, teaser. But there is no fucking thing as karma, okay? Get over that. Whoopi attacks me on a regular basis. She says stupid shit on a regular basis. They just happen to coincide. Now, can I just say this? I had on last week Ira Glasser, former longtime head of the ACLU, talking about free speech. Whoopi Goldberg, who, by the way, I hope is still a friend, we can disagree with each other, should not be canceled or put off her show, as much as I totally disagree with her crazy statement. Free speech. She should be there. She shouldn't get a timeout.
Not every single thing has to be for everybody.
Right.
We can have platforms that have stuff on them that not everyone on that platform or who consumes stuff on that platform enjoys. And The View is a particularly weird place to do a cancellation.
It's called The View?
It's called The View. It's not called The Facts.
Yeah, but isn't it interesting that it's called, I don't think they meant this when Barbara Walters invented it a long time ago, but it's The View.
Well,
that's the problem in America.
But
there is one view,
right, and
one
that's clearly
true opinion, and everybody else.
Bill Maher recently addressed the Whoopi Goldberg controversy heat-in, and he didn't hold back. His main point is that free speech isn't about protecting only agreeable opinions. It's about defending the right to speak, even when the ideas are unpopular or uncomfortable. Argues that suspending someone like Whoopi for controversial comments misses a point entirely. He doesn't agree with everything she says, but he firmly believes in her right to say it. In his view, silencing voices we don't like doesn't educate anyone. It only drives those opinions underground. Maher views platforms like a show as rare spaces where real debate still exists, and he warns that if we keep punishing people for their words instead of discussing them, we'll lose one of the most vital elements of democracy.
You're right, the name raises questions, and certainly there's been some much covered internal politics on that show, but I do think that, there is space. Even that show does have space. When Whoopi said what she said, there was quick pushback from other panelists. They were like, oh, I don't know. Actually, I think that might not be right. That's it. Mission accomplished. We talked about it.
Can we just understand that part of our sorry racial history in this country is that the point of view from a black person is often going to be very different and sometimes shocking to a white person. I pulled the quote from when Whoopi defended Michael Vick. Remember Michael Vick was the football player who was electrocuting dogs? And I'm a lifelong PETA board member. Okay.
Maher also dives into the racial and cultural dimensions that influence public perception. He emphasizes that people from different racial and socioeconomic backgrounds often see social issues through entirely different lenses, not because one group is wrong, but because their lived experiences shape their understanding of the world. As an example, Maher references Whoopi Goldberg's past defense of Anvil player Michael Vick, pointing out that while her comments sparked outrage, they were rooted in an attempt to contextualize behavior through a cultural lens. Maher isn't justifying her statements, but instead pushing for a broader understanding of where people's opinions come from. He argues that instead of rushing to punish people who express controversial views, we should take the time to understand and engage with them.
It's so insulting to make a 65-year-old, The person at ABC News said, I've asked her to take time to reflect and learn about the impact of her comments. Reflect. How insulting for someone of her age, who's a sophisticated person, and the impact of her comment. There is no impact. There aren't neo-Nazis waiting for the green light from the lady on The View to go out and do a new crystal meth.
And the whole point of free speech is we don't need free speech when we're right, when everyone agrees with us. We need free speech when we're wrong. We need free speech to make mistakes. We need free speech to say really unpopular things. And one of the reasons I'm always proud to come on this show, and I suspect you feel the same way, Catherine, is this is the only space left on television where people can speak freely and not be terrified, right? And you have, I just want to say that, I'm conscious that you have the scars on your back for fighting to keep that there from 9/11 right
sure, I'll get them tonight.
Right? And it's hugely to your credit that you fought to do that.
Thank you.
Is hard.
Finish your thought.
He further criticizes modern media for abandoning open discussion in favor of enforcing a single acceptable narrative. Maher finds it ironic that shows like The View, which is supposed to represent a variety of opinions, often discourage dissent. He believes the media climate today rewards conformity and punishes independent thought. In his view, free speech only matters when it's protecting controversial or unpopular speech because safe, agreeable ideas don't need defending. Maher questions whether Whoopi's comments truly had any real-world impact, suggesting a public outrage was disproportionate and performative. Instead of discussing her remarks constructively, the response was simply to suspend her and demand that she reflect. Maher sees this as a missed opportunity for real dialogue. In the end, Maher's argument is clear. The issue isn't really about Whoopi Goldberg. It's about how society handles disagreement. Are we creating space for honest conversations and growth, or are we forcing everyone to follow the script under threat of cancellation? He calls on viewers to think critically about how we treat free speech and public discourse in time when differing views are often met with instant backlash. Whether you agree or disagree with Whoopi's comments, Maher wants people to recognize that free speech is messy but essential. And if we lose the ability to discuss difficult topics, we risk losing more than just open dialogue. We risk losing the foundation of democratic conversation. Music.